don't think there's anybody in my little town that has a towel. Jill has always been like one of those people that you just aspire to be around, you know, like I would make excuses to get near her, or I'd meet people that kind of knew her so I could get near her. And then they all just told me all this crap about her, and then that she has no office, and that her only training is a file of focaccia bread recipes. And I thought, like, hell, why do I want to get to know her? No, I know.
Now you asked her if she had a scanner, and she's like, "What's that?"
Yeah, no, I wanted her to copy this for everybody, and that was like a no. So anyway, there are really two sides to me. There's a side to me where I'm really crazy and fun, and I like to impersonate people and all that kind of jazz. And then there's another side of me which harkens back to my old career, because I was for 29 years at a public utility, and I love business. Okay. And one of my passions is talking to directors about business, because we're business owners. Would you agree? We love to have fun and all that, but we are business owners. So I want to talk with you about some strategies to really, and I'm not sure what I'm saying to you guys, because you all are in the business for so long. So I feel like, you know, like a nobody compared to what a lot of you are doing, sales and all of that. But I have done some little bit of research about leadership, so I'd like to chat with you about that. Are you okay with that? All right, cool. So I'm not sure, you know, what I can tell you that you haven't heard before, but this is what I want to talk to you about: information overload. In the last 30 years, more info has come into our world than in the previous 5,000 years. Would you agree we are an information society? Mm-hmm. People are attached to their devices at all hours of the day because we want more and more. It's like a drug almost. A 17th century person in England would, in their lifetime, absorb as much info as comes in the New York Times in one edition. Wow. Their whole entire life would have been taken to get the info that we get in one edition of the newspaper. And the information in the world has doubled in the last 5 years, and it will continue to double. So the problem with information, in my view, is that if knowing what to do were the only thing that predicted success, would we all be thin? No one would be divorced, no one would be an alcoholic, there would be no drug abuse, because you can go up to Google and type in anything you want, and there instantly is information, right? So isn't there another piece of the puzzle that's missing, and that's the desire to do it, because you have to be around people like you guys in order to achieve anything. That's why Alcoholics Anonymous works, that's why 12-step programs work, because besides knowing what to do, you're with people that want to do it. So once you say that our teams are kind of like that, you can't just hire new people and say, go out to the website and go check out PC University. The information is there, but what about getting them to really do it? Do you know what I mean? Getting them to really work at the business and want it, because that's the key component. Somebody's got to want to do it. So how do you get somebody to want to do it, and what can you do to help them want it, right? One fact that I read was that every single person will influence in their lifetime 10,000 people. We are people of influence, but you want to be more influential. If you want people to do what you want them to do, your teams, we're going to talk specifically teams, if you want them to do what you know they can do, you must be able to influence them. So have you ever have a director in your friends categories?
Stop it!
That has a team that just, if you ask, well, how's your team doing? No, nobody wants to sell. Nobody wants to earn a trip. Nobody comes to meetings. Nobody wants anything more. Do you know what I mean? Does anybody know anybody that has that kind of team? I'm my team. So Ginger, you're exactly who I'm going to chat with today. You're exactly who I want to find, because I find that there are a lot of directors in this business today that have kind of given up. And they're saying, you know what, I can't get people to do it, so I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to do all the 5,000 sales we need. I'm going to earn the trip. And forget all of it. And, you know, you can't find the people to work with. And how many of you sometimes put tons and tons of work into a meeting? How many of you plan it, and you put it out there, and you say, please come to the meeting, and then nobody comes, and then you're disappointed, and, you know, it is just like spinning your wheels constantly. And this is what I call director burnout. And when people burn out, they're either going to just back off completely, or they're going to leave our company. And I'm going to talk to you about why I think people have left our company, because you know some good friends that have left the company for greener pastures, right? So I'm going to tell you why I think. But there is a trend that people are not attending things. How many of you belong to a church or a synagogue? It is tough to get people to do things on a regular basis. Why is that? Because we're a compartmentalized society. People today sit on their phones, like we all do, sit on their phones, and you can have a great conversation and never talk to a soul. We have drive-through banks. We don't even go into the bank anymore. Everything is making us be more disconnected. People don't have the time. So let's talk about meetings first. Meetings, it used to be, think about 20 years ago, meetings were the only place you got your information. How many of you were around 20 years ago, 15 years ago? There was no PC University, there was no Facebook, there was no internet. I mean, good God, you had to go to a meeting to get your information. So going back to my first point that information is everywhere, a meeting should not be about information for the most part. A meeting has to be about connecting. And it looks like you guys do a great job of that, right? When you come to Jill's, like she said, her entire training is going on the phone. But your meeting has to be a place for people to connect and feel good and get that connection. Because all of you answered the question, why do you stay? Why did y'all say you stayed?
For the friendships.
For the friendships and the connections. So your team meeting really should be nothing more than getting people to connect with each other, in my opinion. Yes.
I agree with you. We used to have very, very structured meetings where it was an agenda, this person would talk about this, stand up in front of everybody, talk. And now we've totally made it in like a hangout kind of thing. And everybody just shares and they're getting to know each other a little more. And it's more of a hangout meeting, back and forth, comments back and forth, sharing things that makes people want to come, as opposed to sitting in your seat for 2 hours listening to somebody talk at you about 5 different topics. So I totally agree with you on that.
So true. And what we used to do is try to get in every topic, okay, had to do recruiting, had to do selling, and people would just be on information overload. And there was no encouragement to go do it. They knew what to do, but there wasn't any encouragement to do it. So my first suggestion is to theme your meetings. We have a name for all of our meetings. So we've done meetings that we take the party packs and we might say we're doing mimosas and pancakes for the meeting. So come and we'll have the social hour and we'll eat and we'll cook together. I've done a CHOP meeting. That was one of my best attended meetings. If you all watched CHOP. So we did, I had baskets of food. There were 6 teams. They got 4 ingredients. All of my directors helped me bring the basics. They cooked everything, and then I had 4 judges come in. They were like former customers of mine or hosts, and 3 of them signed. It was great. So we did a CHOP meeting. I've done when we used to have that island show. What was that show called on TV?
Paradise?
Not Paradise.
Survivor?
Survivor. That one.
Still on.
Is it still on? I don't understand. Can you tell I never watched TV? We did a Survivor thing one time where they had to do little challenges to earn food and be with it. I mean, we've done Jeopardy. We've done all those. But we do something fun. I like to do a lot of hands-on things. Now, who did the coupons? Who did the booking coupons? One of the people you did, or somebody created those. At my last meeting, I had those, and I had my laminator there. Jill would freak out. Laminator, good guy. I laminated all the coupons, and I took them home. We've done recruiting things, so I try to have something that's hands-on, so that they'll come. They might put together a booking binder, something fun. We've done pizza parties, and I call it a name every single month to get people to come. And I tell them what they're going to experience. We're going to do this. It's going to be so fun. Bring a friend, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you're all doing that, but sometimes my directors will cancel their meetings if they only have 2 people coming. And I'm begging you never do that. The 2 people that are coming are probably going to be the 2 that are going to ascend in this business. So always have your meetings. But if you are having no luck with getting team members to want more out of their business, how many of you have team members that you just say, nobody wants to do anything more than what they're already doing? All right. So I'm going to show you this. This is the crappy smoker. All right, look. I got to write it out.
She's a fat marker.
Sorry. And then this is, okay. I want to talk to you about what I'm, okay. In our kind of business, there are 2 ways to work your business. One way is to work on your personal success, and that's this. And it goes from 1 to 10, okay? So we have a lot of people in our business that know how to sell beautifully. That's why I think other companies want our people, is because we know how to sell. if they had good sellers in their company, why would our people who go to their companies become their number one seller overnight? Why? Because we all know how to sell, and we know how to sell so well that we can have a business just with selling, right? And a lot of us do have a business just with selling. I figure if you sell $100,000 a year, how much commission are you going to make? If you're a director, what are you going to make on commission? $31,000. Okay? Okay, $31,000 is decent commission, but is it like a mind-blowing living? Is it a mind-blowing way of life on $31,000, right? But if a good seller like that is encouraged to go somewhere else where they might pay a little higher commission. So my goal is to get people not just on this continuum. All right, so where are you in the thinking about success in personal sales and personal success? Where are you on the scale of 1 to 10? Are you all the way at a 10? Because here's the other problem. When somebody who just sells gets all the way to a 10, because there's a lot of people that are been there, done that, they already are there. It's like like how many of you have been married? Like sometimes you get a little bored, and this is what causes people to wander around in marriages because they've done it all. They're at the top. There's nothing else to go for, and they find another guy. Go, wow, he's pretty, and they move along. I don't want you moving along to some other new guy. Like, let's just say Park Lane. I don't want you going over to Park Lane. I want you to stay here where things are good. But here's the deal. Let's say that, we won't pick on a certain person, but let's say a certain person was tops in the company, and sold, and they were at an 8, let's just say on the success continuum. But their leadership, they didn't have anybody following them. What's leadership? You gotta have somebody following you. All right, so if somebody's just selling and they've done their great success here, but their leadership's maybe at a 1 because they don't really have any team, it's just themselves doing it. Their influence is just this spot right here. Because their leadership's only at a 1, but their success is way out here. But if I can get that leader who's so good at sales to start influencing more people, and let's say they could get up to a 6, this becomes their whole circle of influence. Way, way, way more. And the more people you influence, the more success you're going to have. And influence on your team means finding people and helping people to have what we have. Because if you just have personal success, there's not a whole lot to keep you going. But if you have all of these people, most people who leave our company or who burn out and quit don't have a whole huge following of people on their team. They usually just have this. Are you following me so far? And there's nothing wrong with this, but that's not the way to build that fortune and fame because it's a very self-centered business, and we want to have a business that influences lots and lots of people. So let's talk about leadership and how to get people to follow you so that they have the success you have and you're leading a real big team. So thinking about, how many of you would like to be in Jill's position someday? Would you like to have, how many does Jill have on her team? None of them do. If you could fart around like Jill and make the money she has, how many want to be Jill? Sure. All right, but Jill has influence that has helped, she helped you want more out of your business. So what I found sometimes is that we have not learned how to influence people. We don't know how to get them to want more. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. So it's got to start with your team. So how many of you know what the Pareto principle is?
What?
Pareto. You've never talked about the Pareto principle?
They don't talk about that here.
Pareto. Pareto. Anybody know?
No, that's like the same two words.
It's like the word.
I know you heard this concept. The Pareto principle teaches you that the 20-80 rule. Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. So you just didn't know what it was called. So the Pareto principle will say that 80% of your team's results come from 20% of your people. 20% of your carpet gets 80% of the wear. 20% of your wardrobe in your closet, you wear 80% of the time. It's a true statement. You could put it to any kind of situation. 20% of your church group does 80% of the work. It's true in almost all walks, all areas of life. It's very true. So what I find is that directors, especially when I have a director who's just starting out, gets very frustrated because they don't have anybody to work with that they can find. So if you have a team of 10 people and the Pareto principle were true, how many people really are worth working with? 2, right? And so what we tend to do is clump them all together and go, nobody. I got nobody, I'm just going to sell and, forget the rest of all this nonsense. So with the Pareto principle, the opposite is true. You need to spend 80% of your time working with just the 20% who are willing to do something. So what happens if you've ever had, let's just say I have 5 kids and we have one really problem child. That one child gets most of the attention. That's the problem. And I've got my other kids who are doing really well, but guess what? They don't get bailed out in financial situations. I put all my focus on that one bad egg because that's what I feel I need to do. And my poor kids who are doing really well get nothing. And so sometimes think about your team. If you've got somebody who is selling, you're not calling them up at the end of the month or calling them during the month and say, hey, who are you calling all the time? The problem children, the problems that are not doing anything, and they're getting all of your attention, and you're just kind of letting the good kids kind of do their thing. So in a leadership role, you do what you can for your 80%. And truly, most teams have 80% who are going to do very little. And that's the sad fact. But 80% are going to be, you could just do your monthly meeting, offer to let them come, do whatever you can with them, kind of in a general situation. But you want to find your top 20% and then focus all of your time. If you're going to focus your energy on your team, you put it just to those 20%. How do you figure out who your 20% are? Well, the thing that I usually do is I'll sit down with the director and we'll look at her team and we'll pick out the 1 or 2 people that if they left or stopped selling would be disaster for their team. That's your 20%. And what happens too is if I'm going to promote an advanced director out, if she's got a team that's really heavy with just one person selling, I said, boy, she might promote to director. We might have to build some other people up because we can't lose that person. If she goes out of her first gen, then she becomes a really weak advanced director. So figuring out your top 20%. So I want you to think right now, write down, if you've got a piece of paper, I'd like you to write down the 2 people that come to mind that would fit that role of 20%. Who are your 2 people? Now, if you have a team of 100, then you're going to have a much bigger list. But if you have a team of 10 to 20, we're talking only 2 to 4 people. 2 to 4 people. Another rule with the Pareto principle is this. If you're trying to think, oh my gosh, I'm doing my personal business, that's taking up a lot of my time. How in the world am I going to find time to work with other people? Then what I would tell you is to use that principle again in your personal business and figure out what tasks take up so much of your time but really don't contribute to your bottom line. What kinds of tasks do you have to do that really don't contribute to your income very well?
Facebook
does not contribute. You could hire somebody to post on Facebook for you. That'd be good. What other tasks as a director do you do? Because you're a consultant, you have to be a consultant. What
Filing, putting receipts away.
Yeah, post packets and all that kind of jazz. And if you could hire a girl for $5 an hour to put together your show packet, some high school girl, it would free all of your time up to do some of these other tasks that you might do. It would be well worth your time. I mean, the very first thing I did when I became a director was get a cleaning lady. I have way better things to do than clean my house. So if you did nothing else, coming up the ladder, they say, oh, we want to get up to executive, but there's really no, except for the lead program that just came out. It just kind of seemed to be a disconnect to me. So besides, the pay is good for a director, but if you can lead other people, the pay is going to be way better. So I want to talk to you about the wage system versus the profit system. How many of you heard of Dave Ramsey? Dave Ramsey. All right. Another book I read talks about when you are out selling and just doing all the work yourself, basically you are trading your time for a wage. The company says we will give you 31%, and that's a set amount, right? There's a cap to it. So if you're going to go do $5,000 in sales yourself and you're going to get 30%, you are going to earn $1,500. But a profit system is where you're investing in something and the rewards can be unlimited, right? A lot of people want to open up a store, they want to open up a bagel shop or a cupcake business or any of that kind of jazz. But in Pamperhill, who is that? Crazy idea. My daughter also is going to open up a cupcake business. She spent a year making her logo and inventing her name. Then, 1 year. Then, the very first time she tried to make cupcakes, they tasted like crap. That idea was gone. She never did it again.
No, Jennifer really good.
Ours are good? But you want to transfer some of your time out of the wage system, which is selling, into the profit system, which is being a really big leader of a big team, if that's what you want to do. Because your income is going to be based on other people, and it can become unlimited. All right, so let's talk about the cycles. I want to just talk about 2 cycles. How many of you have known a director that is in that cycle where their team isn't performing the way they want them to, so they're being very protective. They got to keep all the bookings they get. They're very protective of the people that they've got. They just worry about those 5 people or 6 people selling. When you're in protective mode, you're kind of pulling everything to you. You know what I mean? If you were trying to protect something, you're bringing it in. But when you're in the promotion mode, your hands are out and you're trying to help people and bring people up and help them along. So every business has both cycles. And I've been in protection mode many times. Like after my dad died and I didn't have any bookings, the only focus I had was getting more business for myself. But once I get it built up, then I can help other people come along. So if you're in the protection mode, then your job is to build your calendar up and to get sales enough so that you can then start. Once you're stable, then you can help somebody else. You just put your oxygen mask on first. You never stop being a consultant in this business, right? All right. I want to talk about the stages of leadership. And then we'll talk about some hands-on things of what you can do with your team that we've done with my team that have helped some of my leaders become true leaders and not just directors, okay? All right, so that's a lovely piece of paper. All right.
I gave her oak tag.
Oak tag. Who even calls it oak tag?
And magic markers.
Okay. There's 5 levels of leadership. 5 levels, okay? The first level is called a position leadership role, okay? And it's really simple to describe. In our business, when you promote to a director, because of your position, they give you a leadership role. Hey, you're a director, you're now a leader. But being a director isn't the same as being a leader, really. You know, you don't know what you're doing. At the positional level, your influence on others is strictly limited because you're their leader. You know, it's because of your title. We all start out with that level. You know, you don't really know what you're doing, but you've got people below you, and they're going to follow you because you are the leader. But the longer you stay at just that kind of leadership, the higher the turnover and the lower the morale of your team. Because you're really not doing anything. You're just a director going through the motions because you got the title. And in the businesses that I've been in before too, people would be promoted to, you know, a title, and they really didn't have any influence on anybody. The only reason people respected them was because they had the title of the, you know, customer service rep or whatever. This is where you want to go next. Is a permission-based leadership role. And let me tell you what that is. Permission-based is people follow you because they want to. And you're starting to build relationships because they're not obligated anymore. Now they're starting to like you. And this is where you start, when you're a director, you start to reach out to people and say, hey, let's work together. Hey, do you want more? Trying to find your 20%. You're getting to this point where you want them to give you permission to give them ideas. Because there's nothing worse than giving ideas and things to somebody who really doesn't want it. You've got to get their buy-in and you've got to get their permission to help them. The problem with staying here too long is that highly motivated people tend to get restless. If they stay at that level too long, they start to get restless and want more. All right, let's get to the next level, because this is where it really starts to happen. It's the production level. And production level is where morale starts to get high, and you get what we call momentum. And momentum is your friend in direct sales. Momentum is where things will start to change, because not only are you moving forward, but you've got other people moving forward. Now you're working together to accomplish a common purpose, right? The 2 of you are working on it. And you're starting to have some long-range growth, and you're doing all you can to work together. And there are many directors at this point. You know, you're working well, and now you've got some people that are working with you. People development is the next level. And at production level, people follow you because of what you've done for the company. They follow you, they're loyal to you because of what they've seen you do for the company. At people development level, people are following you now because of what you've done for them. You've helped them become more, and they're following you because through your mentorship, they are following you because you've done for them, not just for the company. And at level 2, people love the leader. At level 3, people admire the leader, and at level 4, they're loyal to you, and they'll never leave. And then the last level of leadership is personhood, which is a goofy name in my opinion. Personhood. And people follow you simply because of who you are. And there's a few people in the company that I can think that people will follow just because of who they are. Maybe it's Nancy Jo, maybe it's Jill, maybe it's Doris, maybe Jean, whoever. But it doesn't matter what they do. It's just because of who they are now. People in the world, there was, Mother Teresa or Nelson Mandela, all these people, didn't matter what they were doing anymore. They could have told you anything. They would have followed them and respected them. And this takes a long time. It takes a career. But this is your goal someday, to have people following you and being loyal to you and wanting to be around you just because of who you are, what you've become, and what you can do for them.
So you're in the same category as Mother Teresa.
Yes, Mother Teresa and Jill. So, the thing is that you all are influence people every day in your life. You influence your kids, you influence your spouse, you influence all kinds of people. But sometimes we just don't feel, we don't know what to do with our teams. We don't know how to influence them. We've tried everything. So the first thing I want to tell you what I've done to try to help other people, promote and to develop. First of all, I got to identify my 20%. So have you ever done this? Have you all kind of assessed your 20%? Then what would you do with them if you have? How could you get them to come around? So the first thing that I would do is I would do one of two things. I would call them up and say, I've been thinking about you and the Pampered Chef, and this is what I see in you. And I was wondering if you'd want to partner with me, and I'm only choosing 2 people from our team. I'd like to partner with you to see what we could do in the next 3 months, to see if would you like to move your business forward a little bit. I used to take people out to lunch, and I wouldn't tell them why I was taking them out to lunch. I just said, I'd love to take you out to lunch if it's somebody local. And I would spring it on them. I'd say, I really think that you have what it takes to do more with Pampered Chef. Would you like to work with me for the next couple of months and see what we can do? And I will tell you that every single person I've ever taken out to lunch has promoted to director. Wow. Every single one.
That's
okay?
a secret?
That's a secret.
Lunch.
And I think Jim even lunch. We're good. We're good. We're good. So there's your tip: take people out to lunch. The other thing that I do is I formed a group that meets every Sunday by Zoom. Y'all use Zoom. And I hand-picked people on my team that I can't work with them all one-on-one, but I could work with them in a group. So I sent an email to 8 people on my personal team, because I'm really focusing on my personal team right now. And I said, you've been selected to be part of a really exclusive group, and we're going to be called the Sweet 16 group, because I think 2016 really is going to be your year. And this is what it's going to involve. We're just going to talk on Sunday nights, and we're going to do a little bit of one-on-one coaching. Please respond to this email if you would like to be part of this group. Got the emails back, because they think, oh my gosh, I'm so special, blah, blah, blah. You have to show them that you believe in them. This is another analogy. I like to use analogies once in a while. But if I put out a post on Facebook, hey everybody, I want to lose 20 pounds, and I'm looking for 10 friends that want to come along the journey, and you're going to have to count a bunch of calories with me. We're going to go on a walk every day. We're going to do this and that, and you're going to have to pay $50 if you don't lose weight, and blah blah blah. Nobody's going to say, hey, sign me up for that, right? They're not going to do it. But if I reached out to them and said, oh my gosh, I'd love to work with you, Yvonne. I think that together we could maybe make a great pair. I just need an accountability buddy to help me lose weight. What would you think about blah blah blah? I reached out to them and suggested it. So that's the other thing I would do is pick a few people and see if they will work with you. So how are you going to know what they're doing in the business? One of the most startling things that I do when I'm going to work with a consultant who says that yes, she wants to work with me, is I go through what I call a consultant assessment with them. And you know what it is? It's just asking all these questions, and I have them all written out if you ever want to see them. But it'll be things like, how many parties are on your show this month? How many do you want to have? How many catalog shows? How many catalogs do you put in a packet? It's asking all kinds of questions about their business. You will be astounded at the crappy answers you get. You will be just appalled. And right away you'll see some things that you could help them fix. Like if they're not getting bookings, one of the questions says, how many, on average, how many people come to your parties? How many guests are at your parties? And they'll say 10. And I'll say, how many orders on average does your host have waiting for you when you get there? And they'll say 2. And I'll say, on average, how many orders does your host get for you after the party? And they'll say 2. So if you add that all up, how many orders should we have? 14. And then you know the tool. You guys all use the, what is it called, Paula? Do you all know?
Individual performance.
Individual? Yeah, it's called the, yeah, but it's the one that tells you
Oh, on their
the performance tracker, the performance details. I'm sorry, performance details. How many people look at that to see how many customer orders per show, how many bookings per show, how much their average customer is spending? Do you guys do numbers at all?
No. Oh, they would love that, Marna. If they pulled up their tracker and you walk through that,
What?
it is.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Didn't even know. All right. Can I tell you about it?
Yes.
Because this
Go back and say,
We got dinner
true.
They
don't translate.
Okay.
You guys should see where that is on your.
Okay. So you're gonna go to a consultant, and you go to performance overview, and then in the lower left it'll say performance details. Okay, so click on write down performance details. This is gonna open up a whole world of information to give you an insight into what they're really doing. So what we'll have in the lower right, it'll have year to date orders per show. It'll tell you how many orders per show. It'll tell you what their show average is, right? It'll tell you how many bookings they've gotten. All right, so what I do then is they tell me that, then I look at their performance details. And you know what number you usually see for orders per show? 6, 7, 8. It's pathetically low. And if they think that they're getting 14 and they're only getting 6 or 7, right away we can start to work on some of the problems. And some of the problems are they don't have enough people coming to their show. They don't have enough outside orders. What you're trying to do is just build good consultants. You're not trying to get a director right away, but what this does is turns people into good sellers. You know, and what I hear a lot of times is, well, nobody did that with me. Nobody showed me. This whole team will say, Jill did shit for me. I didn't do that. I did it all on my own. But this is the problem in our company. The really hardcore driven people are ascending up. There's a whole bunch of other people that we could turn into you guys if they had some guidance. Not everybody is a self-starter like we are. We are the exception. And if we could turn just even a couple more people into what we've achieved and showing them the way, for us it was natural. For a lot of people it is not natural, and we have to teach it. So if I have a girl that, and then how do you figure out what their average customer, you ever figure out what the average customer spend is, what their average customer is spending? So you take their show average and you divide it by the number of customers. You guys all got this, you're all business people, and it'll tell you what their average customer is spending. So if it's really low, then we can talk about you got to start to get more sales per customer. If it's really high, this is what I say, you know what, your average customer is spending $70 per party. If we could just get 2 more people ordering on each of your parties this month, you would have earned another couple. I would figure out exactly how much more they earn, and then they have a very specific goal. So the first goal might be, we want to raise your average customers to 8 instead of 6, and your show average is going to go way up. Find something to work on right away. There's always things, like a lot of times, you know what the big bugaboo in my team is invitations. What are they using for invitations? Do you ever ask your team, what are they using? You know what answer I get a lot of times? Oh, I asked the host if she wants some. If she'll send them out, I'll give them to her. But if she says she's not going to send them, I'm not going to give them to her. In my opinion, I think that's terrible. What do you guys think? Do you guys not send invitations? Would you encourage your host to?
Yes.
Would you ever let her not send them?
Yes.
Facebook. You send them. You do. A lot of them just want to do Facebook. And why do
Facebook is not enough. It's not enough.
So, but you know your consultants don't think that way. A lot of my part-time consultants absolutely do not give invitations. That's what the trend is. So what I'm telling you is find out what they're really doing by asking really specific questions. So I have this whole consultant assessment that you could use, okay, if you want it. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. But I will give it to you if you want to. Another thing that you could do, if you're trying to weed out people that really want to try something, is you could send out that email, I'm going to form this really exclusive group. You've got to really build it up. And then you could say, so if you'd like to be part of the group, here's fill out this form and send it back to me. If they won't even send that back the form, don't put them in your group because they're not willing to work. You know what I mean? It kind of is a test to see if they'd be willing to do anything. So if they'll fill out the little form, and if you can condense it down. Mine is kind of long, but you can condense it down. So those people. So now I do a Sunday night group, Facebook group, or not Facebook, it's Zoom. I'm sorry. And those people, I started it in January, and out of that group of 8, 2 promoted to director already. Okay, 1 fast tracked in 28 days. She promoted to director in 28 days. So there is value in doing it, not just for the people that are on your team, but for you too. Because what are you doing? You're increasing your influence, and you're not feeling like, am I going to be a director forever? Now, maybe you guys don't want to promote higher up, and that's totally fine. And maybe you are really good at selling. And what I find is that when people are really good at selling, that's what they do. They focus on it. You never really grow in the other areas. So my message, if you are selling well, yay, but I'd love to increase your income to $100,000 a year, because that's what I'm making, and I sell well, but I also have other people that are selling, and that's the whole goal. How many of you are parents? Are all of you parents? I mean, you want to succeed, but isn't your biggest mission in life to make sure that your children succeed, and don't you get way more satisfaction out of seeing them? I mean, most moms that I talk to, that's their whole goal, is that their kids will have a better life than they had. And but you have to equip your kids. Do the same thing with your consultants. Give them the tools and give them the encouragement that they can do this. So you want to create a vision for your team. And I want to just tell you about one of my most successful directors who went from zero to hero. Started setting just a very small goal, and she posted it on Facebook for her team. And it would be like a number of shows per month, or a recruiting goal, or a sales goal. Does anybody set a team goal of any kind for their team? Do you post it anywhere? Where do you post it?
On a group, on a Facebook group.
Okay, and do you hit it?
I hit it, they don't.
And yeah, well, I'm talking about a team goal.
Okay.
Okay, and what could you set? A sales goal?
Sales and how many more we want to add to the team that month and by year end.
Okay.
Kind of do it outward and right away.
And do you do like a countdown during the month that says, okay, so far so-and-so's turned in 1,200 and so-and-so's done that?
Always do a shout out.
Okay, so a shout out, and do you like count down the goal? Like, we only need 3,000 more in sales to make our goal. We only need 1,000. Okay, so super. So you're doing that. But she started setting goals. Now, two of my team members are doing a recruiting incentive, and it's just an old idea. They're doing it online because not everybody comes to the meeting. But the first week of the month, they put out some nice gift and say the first person who recruits this month gets this gift. Okay. And then the second person who recruits gets this, or you could do a pylon and go up, like, I'm going to put a simple slicer in the pile. If no one recruits the first week, the second week I'm going to add this, and you keep adding something to it. Most teams do not have team recruiting going on. Are your teams recruiting? Most teams that I work with do not have recruiting going on. So if you have some products sitting around, and like we're saying, the company has not been incentivizing consultants, something tangible tends to work. So you put it out there, and you give them a gift for recruiting. Just get rid of some crap that's on your kitchen, in your cupboards. I always call those stranded goods. If you've got products that you want to earn, and they're not making any money sitting on your shelf, but if you could use those to get your team to recruit. So the last time I talked with the director, we came up with a plan, and before you freak out about the money, just think about this. If you could get 5 recruits, you'd be super happy. But for the first person who recruits in the month, they were going to get 25 PC dollars. The second person was going to get 15, the third person was going to get 10, and everybody else after that was going to get 5. She says, well, I might be giving up $50. I said, have you ever had 5 team recruits? Have you ever had, hello? You never even had it. You never even had one, So I'm not saying you do it every month, but you do it 1 month to get people to push and to stretch and to think, this is what we do on our team. We ask people to sign up. And sometimes that incentive will help.
Excuse me, Marna.
Yes, please.
Because there are a lot of directors that have very weak teams.
Yes, sales-wise.
Consultant-wise, very weak consultants.
Yes.
That's many across
Yes.
the company.
Yes.
And I know just gonna drag it through the mud. And this
Well-
is why Marna has an unbelievable team.
Yeah, well,
You want me to
because,
go there?
yeah, I can, I'll go right there next, because the problem, and I do, I'll do an assessment of my directors who have problems on their team. And almost always, it goes back to who they're hiring. I have some consultants, some directors who are so passive. They would never ask somebody who's working a full-time job or who's a lawyer or an attorney or if that's the same thing to become a consultant on the team. You know who they look for? They look for the toothless. They look for the people that don't have transportation. They look for the people, like in my area you need, 3 T's. You need a telephone, teeth, and transportation. So I live in a very, very poor area. Very, very poor. So, and if they have 2 of the 3, we'll usually take them on. But,
One of my former directors, she always looked for the hard luck stores because
Yes.
she wanted to help everybody.
so you open up a daycare,
So
and
she
you're
only-
constantly running a daycare. She's a very nurturing girl, but she's always got girls with problems, okay? So we'll go back to how to find good people for your team. So when I'm recruiting at my parties, the first thing I'm always asking is about that. How many of you work full-time? You heard me last night. Who was there last night? Did I talk about how many of you work full-time? That's one of my biggest things is that I'm going to look for working people to join my team. Why? Because working people already are working. They've got a great network of people, and they could see themselves, they understand the 3-hour thing. Then I'm going to be telling people right from the beginning when I hire them that I can train you either as a consultant to earn, a couple $100 a month, or I could train you as a director, and I show them right away all the rewards for fast track. So there was a couple fast track directors in here. Who are the fast trackers? It was you. And how did you even find out about fast track?
Well, I don't know. It was in the initial brochure that we got.
Read something?
Oh yeah, I read everything. I'm an accountant. I read everything.
This is how we do it, Marna.
All right, so you read it. Who else fast track?
I was just, my recruiter,
Who's your recruiter?
she's no longer, she's with that other company.
She's dead.
Not here anymore. But I had brought 2 of my girlfriends with me to my very first monthly meeting, and they both decided to sign. And then she said, "Look, you're almost halfway." At this point, it was 6.
Perfect.
So that's how I got started.
How'd you fast track?
I had no idea what fast track was.
How'd you find
Cleaning
it?
out my closet, the fly fell out. I
Yeah,
was sort of being.
Who's your director? Who was your director, Jim?
When I called Jill, I'm like, I think I was still in my 90 days to my last month. I'm like, I think I have fast track. She's like, hey, what? She's like, hold on, let me call home.
Just a nod.
I think I have it. Let me check.
Okay, so I am begging you that when you get a new consultant, that is one of the things you talk about on your very first call. Because the last 2 directors I promoted were both fast track. This is the other hard truth that I'm finding. It is much harder for me to try to promote somebody who's been around 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. If they didn't do it something would really have to change in their whole outlook to get them. But a fresh new face who doesn't know any different, those are the ones that you can get to director much faster and much quicker. Can I tell you just a little bit about my new consultant training? Because it's changed completely.
I love it. I love her consultant training.
All right.
I hate change.
This training is so damn easy when you do it.
Not good, man.
Not mad. All right. So I did an exercise yesterday or Sunday with Yvonne's team, and I asked them to tell me all the things that we needed to train a new consultant on. And I wrote them all down. I'm not going to do that, but I just want you to shout out. What are some of the things you need to train a new consultant on? Shout them out. What do you have to teach them? How to do sales. What else? How to get bookings. Post coaching.
Words to say to get
Work. Yeah. All I heard, how to enter an order, how to get a debit card, how to do all that stuff. And I used to take a new consultant down and I used to teach him all of that in about, 2 hours. It would take forever. So today, what I do, new consultant Zoom calls every single week. They're for my consultants that I assign plus anybody on my team. Because I'd rather, if I'm going to do a Zoom call, I can do it with 1 person or 10 people. It doesn't matter. But you have to start to set a precedent that you will be doing new consultant training every week. Because if your consultants don't know how their people are going to get trained, or if they think they're going to get stuck training and they don't know what they're doing, or even my week new consultants, anybody can send their people to my Zoom new consultant training, okay? And it's got to be something that you got to plan to be huge, so you plan it every week. This is the day I'm going to be doing training. It could be 9 o'clock at night. A lot of times I'll do it at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, or whatever, after so they can get their kids to bed. So on the Zoom, when I get everybody together, I've got all these fresh faces, and so we introduce ourselves. It's a relationship-based business, so everybody gets a chance to introduce themselves. How, why did you decide to sell, just like Jean asked you to do? And then I ask them that question. So what do you need from me? What do I need to teach you? And they'll give me all these things, like you're talking, I don't know what to make and all that. And I'll say, you know what, there's lots of information on that, and I can get all that. But the most important thing I can teach you from all my years of experience is how to get a booking, how to get bookings on your calendar. And that's all I teach them on the new consultant training, is how to get bookings. And I'll tell you how I do it. It's very quick and easy. I do a Fast 50 form where they have to fill out, there's 10 categories and they put 5 names. And this is no new concept to you, right? Do y'all use it when you train new consultants? You probably do, right? All right, so then I talk to them about, so in the old days when I would hire a new consultant, I would just say, hey, go get, is it Ellen? No. Ellen, go get 4 bookings. You need to get 4 bookings. And guess who Ellen would usually ask?
Friends.
Mom, sister, grandma. They would all be like sympathy parties, and it was a big mess. And so I would tell these new consultants, the reason I don't want you to do that is, why do you think you don't want to just ask all those people? And then they get the picture, oh my gosh, it would be all the same people coming, I won't get any bookings, no one will buy anymore. So what they have to do on their Fast 50 form is they have to put a star by one person in each category. Friends, family, neighbor, co-workers, church, synagogue, blah, blah, blah. One person. I say you pick out the one person in each of those categories that you think would be your best bet to maybe get a booking. And then I'm going to go person to person, and I'll say, okay, Yvonne, tell me, who did you pick in your friends category? Jill Lerner. And tell me, why did you pick Jill? Why do you think she might book a party? What makes you think she might be a good
She could really use to learn how to cook.
Let's pick on Jill today. And Yvonne, why would she be a good first host for you? What would she bring to your business? Does she know a lot of people you don't know? Does she live in a different town? Tell me a little bit about Jill. So that would be good to have her be one of your first parties, because she would get you in another whole group of people, right? So you can see that. And then, Yvonne, can you think of any reason why Jill might tell you no to a party?
Because she doesn't like people in her house using the toilet.
Right. I did discover that firsthand. So if she has a house that's not fit for human consumption, what could we tell her that maybe would have her, do a party? So what you might suggest to her maybe is that maybe she could co-host. Maybe she could provide the ingredients. If she could find a friend to co-host with, and she could provide the house, and she would provide the ingredients. So does Jill have any friends at all?
She has lots of friends, and I think we could ask everybody to bring a whole biodegradable
Toilet. Good. All right, so then I'll go on. So what this training does is, when they are going to call the person, first of all, they know why they want them for a host. They know what, like when I ask them, so what would make them a good host? If they say she likes to cook, then we'll say, so you tell her about a really yummy recipe that we could be, that you could make for her. If she tells me that she loves the product, then she can focus on that. It teaches them to find a need and fill a need. Find a need and fill a need. You figure out what that person might want, and then you fill that need with your ask. The biggest one is that they will always say that, she's so busy. How many of you have to overcome that objection? But your new consultants, when they hear an objection, right away shut down, and they just go, oh, okay, well. So I teach them right away. The biggest one you're going to hear is, I'm too busy. If they can't solve that problem, they'll never get a booking. So how are you going to tell them how to solve that problem? I tell them something like, just tell them that, the party's going to be so quick, and if it would be easier for me, for my very first parties, I will get the ingredients for a really yummy quick recipe. If you can just find a 2-hour block of time sometime in the next couple of weeks. If we could solve that, would you be one of my first hosts? Would you give it a try? I also teach them in this call about how to handle can you call me next week, or I don't have my calendar. How many of you get that objection? And since we've been in the business, we know how to handle that. What do you say to somebody who says, oh, can you call me back? What do you say? Thank you. Let's get a tentative date on your calendar. Let's get you booked. So you teach them that skill, right? You're teaching them the skills that they need to get business, and forget all the rest, because none of it matters. Because guess what? If they can never get a booking, they don't need to know how to get a debit card. They don't need to know any of that stuff. Now, at the At the meeting I did with Yvonne, we talked about the analogy that I give them is, look, get in the driver's seat of your car right away. If you always let people say, call me back or whatever, first of all, it takes a lot of courage to get on the phone or by Facebook or whatever to get them. If they're busy, they're not going to want another call back from you. So you have to think to yourself, I'm doing them a favor by taking care of it now. Because if they don't want to book a party, I don't want to call them again and again and again. Get in the driver's seat of your car so that you're not constantly running after that driving car like I talked last night. Get the tentative date down. The other thing you're going to teach them is how to be really specific, because this is what new consultants will do when they're calling for bookings. Hey, Jill, it's Marna. I just want to let you know I'm selling here for Chef. And if you ever want to have a party, let me know. Okay, great. All right, and then they go, no, she didn't want to have a party. She didn't say anything. So now I teach them how to look at their calendar and write down their 30th day. You all do this with your new consultants. They have to get their 30th day written on their calendar. It's circled. And then you tell them what they're going to get when they sell their 1250. So I tell them, look, we got to set some kind of goal. So you might do way better than this, but the minimum goal is to do 1250 in sales. And here, I want you to write down what you're going to get. So they literally write down on their calendar on the 30th day, $100 gift certificate, $287.50 paycheck, and whatever that other incentive that Sharon and I don't have a clue what it is. But there is something, right? This one, what is it? I don't know.
Spring product basket.
I think it's
No,
the
it's
salad.
not.
There's
It's
something
salad.
wrong.
Oh, I thought you meant the recruiting one. Yeah, it's the summer products. It's the quick slice, the pitcher. It's just $94 worth of products.
Right. And then I'll also throw in the $750 incentive too, because there's always that incentive. So now they've got this huge pile of stuff that they can get, and they've got their date. Then we have them set a launch party or two. So we're going to try to do 2-2-2. You've all heard the 2-2-2 rule. 2 launch parties, 2 cooking parties, 2 catalog parties in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And the launch parties, I tell them, look, you've got to do at least 1 launch party. If they just had a party with me, then I talk to them about doing a recipe tasting or a wine tasting or a kids in the kitchen or a couples party. Try to get them to do 1 more party of their own, or they can add a 3rd party to their calendar with somebody else. But the other one can be like, every new consultant should open up a catalog party immediately and teach them how to immediately open up a catalog party on their web page so that they can be directing people who can't order, who won't book or won't do a catalog party, that they can go order, because they've got to have that party set up right away. So they're going to be doing a catalog party, plus they're going to be doing their cooking party. Jill, are we done?
No, I'm just cold.
You're freaking out.
No, I have to try for it.
Are you alright? So anyway, they're now booking their own party, getting a catalog party set up. They've got the names of people that they're going to try to connect with. Then I talk to them about what are the best days for you to work. And I tell them, even if you could do a party any day of the week, I want you to pick 2 or 3 days that work best for your family. It doesn't matter. I want you to have some dates in mind. Because what they tend to do is, so they ask the question, so when do you want to have your party? And so people naturally are going to say, I don't know, well, how about in June or July? Instead, you teach them to say, I'm looking for just 1 more party to book before this date. I need just 1 more to make my goal. Could you do it by blah, blah, blah date? I also teach them about an early bird date, that the first opening they've got on their calendar, if it's next Tuesday, then you offer everybody that date, and you just say, you know what, the company gave me a brownie pan to give to if I can get a party booked next Tuesday. If that looks good to you, I'd love to give you the brownie pan. They order them a brownie pan, or sometimes I'll give them one. If I meet with a consultant in person, I give them a gift to use for their very first booking. We used to have that the first parties would get a little gift from the company. Well, that's gone. So make it up. So tell them the company gave it to them. But when I started to focus just on that for that 1 hour, these people are going out and getting actual bookings on their calendar. It's amazing, because that's all they know how to do. I didn't teach them anything else. That's all they do. And then I have 3 emails I send them. 1 email tells them how to put together a show packet. 1 email gives them all kinds of recipes. It's new consultant recipes, and then it's all those forms that we have, like the deep covered baker book, the bar pan cookbook, all those that they're going to want. And then the 3rd email is the one that tells them all that junk that we spend so much time on, how to do the debit card, how to get their website set up. It's all written out. If you have a system, it's so easy just to pass that little system on to them. Because all that stuff, like I told you, information is everywhere. It's the inspiration that we can provide to them. That's all you really need to do.
Who has a black Mercedes?
Me, wish.
Oh, we wonder who that big ass car was.
I'm sorry, I have to pull out.
You have to go get Kenny or something?
You'll have to drive friends and train. I'll be back in 1 minute, 1 second away. You staying for lunch?
All right.
And dinner.
And dinner. So that's a little bit about some new consultant training. So how does that differ from what you've done? Is that the same as what you usually do?
No. But it's
Is
a
it-
lot smarter.
Do you think you can try that?
Sure.
You really will. You will feel so much better at the end of new consultant training. Because I used to get done with them. I was exhausted. They were like they had the glazed over look in their eye, and they just went and did nothing. Oh, hi. So cute.
You're in the real world now.
Yeah, right.
Where's he going? Yes, sweetie.
Send Jill those emails.
Yes. I will send the emails to you. Because, and then I just store it in a assessment sheet.
But I'll try to get it.
Why don't I just send them to you?
All right,
Right
thank you.
now. You give me your email,
All
I'll
right,
send them
thank
to you, but I'll send them to her also.
Thank you.
They'll go in the round file, I'm sure. But what I do for my team, for the most part, is create all these systems and I pass them down to every director, whoever comes on board, and they don't have to do it again. Once you get the system, you're done, right? You're done. You don't have to worry about it ever again. The other thing that I just did, that my directors and I worked on for them, and I'd have to get this to you, but this is just the last thing we'll do before lunch, is talking about what things you can do to play director. A lot of my directors just didn't even know what they were supposed to be doing. Like, they knew how to run their personal business, but what are things to do? So, like, I have. Oh,
Don't say it. She'll be back.
She's got a
Marna, I think the big thing that Judy, Joel, and I talked about a while ago is creating desire for directorship.
There you
Why would they want to be a director if you've never created desire? We create desire for bookings at our shows. We create desire for recruit leads at our show. But are we creating desire for leadership at our meetings?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing too, is influence people, but also showing them the way. That's what we do with our kids. Show them, like, if you do well in school, this is what you'll get, and we get them to want it. Somehow we do that. We do it in our life all the time. So what are some ways that you could create interest in directorship if that's one of your goals is? And even if it's not your goal to promote, it should be your goal to help other people get the most potential out of this business that they can have. So what do you do at meetings to create that desire for directorship? What you don't do is complain every minute of the day, like, oh my God, it took me forever to get ready for this meeting and no one came and blah, blah, blah. If you just, no one's going to want that. So,
The director's slide.
one of the director's slide, I'll tell you the other thing that's really gotten some traction on my team is honoring senior consultant promotions and team leader promotions. Because it was pathetic. Look at your team and see how many team leaders you have. It's scary. Like there's none. There's like 2. It's terrible. Not even many senior consultants. So my directors get roses. So what I started to do is give, if it's a senior consultant, she gets 1 rose. If she's a team leader promotion, she gets 2. And bring them up just like they're a director. They're all freaked out about getting a freaking rose. It's stupid. But we talk about it doesn't have to cost much. It has to be that they understand it. And then we say, so you've got your first recruit. Tell us about who it is. And I make a big deal about 1 freaking recruit. And then the team leader, well, that's just crazy because she's done 2,500 in sales. She got a 2% raise, which is really 10%. You know that, right? It's not just 2% more income; it's 10% more income. Because when you go from 2 to 22, that's 10% income increase. It's not just 2%. You see what I'm saying? So my first suggestion is to make a big deal about anybody who promotes any level. Okay, that's the first thing. Director slide, director pylon.
Vision board.
Oh my gosh, it is huge. Huge. And telling them about how directorship works. So, I'm in this house, I have it called Ross Hacienda, and anybody that's on my team that's not a director is all living in my house. And I have to put somebody in the basement because there's so many people in the house, So, and we have to pay a $5,000 mortgage a month. $5,000 in sales gets our mortgage paid. So my whole team and I work together to make the $5,000 mortgage. But once once you start to get going in this business, and just like if you were growing up, you want to get out of your parents' house. So what you want to do is get 5 friends to come along. You're going to go ahead and move out into your own house, and then you guys just have to make a $5,000 mortgage payment. But then we talk about what the benefits are. And usually what I get them with is either walking at the conference, walking the stage, creating a picture of that. I give everybody a chef's jacket that promotes to directors. Do you all wear chef jackets at your parties? I buy them from, they're $17. It's a black chef's jacket, and I have my name monogrammed. I wear it to every party. Never will you think about what you're going to wear to your party. I wear it every single party. I do it. It gets washed. It's been washed thousands of times. It wears like steel. And I get their name monogrammed on it. You think it's too hot?
Much too hot for me.
Okay, you've tried it.
I can barely wear anything during shows.
You look it
My
up.
schwitz.
Do you wear that?
Not this.
No, would you wear that among the time?
So I wear just a t-shirt,
Just
you know, a shirt and my apron.
Okay.
And I couldn't wear anything with sleeves or.
Really?
hot.
You're working too hard now.
No, I'm warm. I'm just always very warm.
Yeah. So you can get a shirt, sleeves, chef's jacket, but whatever. I'm just telling you, the people who want to promote to director want the chef's jackets because all my directors have them, and they see us with them on. It becomes what our apron. What the red apron? But I have every once in a while. Every once in a while at the meeting, I'll have everybody try on the chef's jackets to see which size fits them, and then I'll write it down, or I'll have them write their name. I'll have them write their name on a little apron that they're wanting to promote to director. We'll put those on the board, and you know, you've got to, every meeting, you have to do something to honor the people that are on their way and to inspire the next one. Because guess what? There's always somebody coming to the meeting that hasn't heard that spiel before. So what we tend to do is only talk about it maybe once a year about directorship. It has to be every single time you get together with people.
And Marna, to really talk about the fast track, are we discussing that with all brand new people? Because it's an amazing program.
Right.
But if we're not showing the benefits of it and keeping it in front of them, like Brett, just briefly, right? Brett,
Yes.
we talked about it constantly.
Right. So once he knew about fast track, then that's all you focused on. Like, hey, you know, we got till this time, and you know that if, let's say they join on April 3rd, and their 90th day comes up on July 3rd, you know they have all the way till the end of July to promote to director. That day doesn't mean anything. They've got the whole month of July, and they can promote August 1st. So usually fast track is usually like about 90, it could be 100 days, it could be 110 days, depending on when they signed up. So I think that once you start to think of yourself as more of a leader, not just a director, and you make it your goal that you want to lead other people, and then you make it your goal to identify those very few people, it's not going to be many in the beginning, pick a couple, then you start to have a little success with them. Then you make a big deal about your Sweet 16 group at your meetings and say, well, you know, Jill and I have been meeting and blah, 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 and then you have them train, and you have them do a training segment or give them an inspirational talk. It just starts to create a culture of pushing people up. I have 2 more girls that are working on directorship this month because I'll tell you, it was the apron, the roses, the talk of the fast track, the talk of going to conference, all of that. So I just am encouraging you, like, you know, we've all been in a spot where nobody wanted anything, but we can create it, and you have the power to do it, and I know you can, and if that's what you want to do, I'd love to communicate with you by Facebook. If you want some more ideas, I'll send you my forms if that helps you at all.
And if you're sitting here, Marna, and some of you are saying, well, I just don't have anyone, I only have 4 people, and nobody does anything,
Right.
your next recruit is going to be an ex-director.
Then you're going to start again and start a new system of training them the way we just talked so they have early success, so that they are aware of fast track, and that will beget. And you're going to look for better people. You're not going to look for the toothless and the transportation list. You know, you're going to look for that teacher that's working. You're going to look for, and you're going to talk to them about how they can work it right along. Because, like I said in the beginning, you guys are all the exception to what's out there. The problem is that we can't find people like us. We have to help create them, and it really can be done. And you will be just amazed at what the results you'll have. If you tried this, let's say you tried for 3 months. If in 3 months you don't see any change, try it for another 3 months, and then I give you permission to just go back and be the best seller you can be. But I think in 6 months' time, you will definitely have developed and promoted more people, and you will move up that leadership scale and you're going to be up to person. Okay, that's that. Thank you, Cindy.
Great job, Marna.
All of it.
Okay.
All
I
of it.
heard you say last night, you had a think about it packet, so
Yes.
what's in
Think
it?
of, the think about it packet is they have to think about it right then and there.
Okay.
Okay, let me just, at Sunday's thing, I talked a little bit about type A and type B people. I look for type A personalities to join my team. I can make a decision like that. How many of you are pretty decision oriented and if you want to do something, you pretty much will do it? How many of you need to think about things like my husband, he's an engineer background, and he agonizes about what color shoes he's going to wear. You know, he's got to plan it for a day. What you want to do is you want to assume that everybody at your party could make a decision that night about becoming a pampered chef consultant. Type A personalities definitely can make a decision that night. And so you just want to give them the offer. So Ellen, I know you're interested. You said you wanted to take a look at some info. Let's look at the kit. What do you already have in the kit? Isn't this a great deal? So which kit are you really interested in? Do you want kit A or kit B? And you just assume that they're going to get it that night. If you assume it, many people will follow your lead. You model, positive. You reflect what they're. You nod. They nod. What's your social security number? What's your but look, what I found is so the think about it packet is just my lead-in to tell them that they can get information. What I think is the kiss of death for my business is when I give somebody a packet to look at and say, go home and look at this, I'll call you tomorrow. And I've said it many years. They tend to go on the witness protection plan. They're gone. You can't find them. Nobody, they're gone. It's like fast food. The day you go to fast food restaurant, you go through the drive-thru, that bag of food is somewhat palatable right away. But if you drive around and come home in an hour and try to eat that fast food, it's disgusting. It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good, and you're done with it. So I really encourage you, when you have a hot lead at a party, to pull on your big girl pants and you go right to, let's get your kit ordered. I can bring it up on the computer tomorrow. The kit will be on its way to you. You're going to have it in 2 days. Oh, it's going to be like Christmas. You're not even going to be able to believe it. And then let's get your launch party set, and I'll call you tomorrow. We'll set up some training. That I don't do interviews. I haven't done interviews in years. I only recruit mostly the people that'll say yes to me at a party. Now, if you have to have a think about it person, if you're a think about it girl, try to see it from the other view. Because if somebody who wants to make an instant decision is given too much time, they forget all about it. They're on to the next thing. So just try it. Just try testing the waters to say, so do you want to get your kit ordered tonight? It's super easy. All I need is just a little bit of information. We can get you ordered tonight. You won't believe how they will sign up. Do you sign up the party, Sharon?
Oh, 90% of mine.
Right.
90%.
I think that what I used to do is I was afraid to be pushy. I was always so afraid to be pushy. Trust me, there are people that want you to be pushy, and it's.
But wait a second. What are we being pushy about? We're giving them $750 worth of products for $150. We're giving them the best deal in the catalog. So when we get over the fact that it's not being pushy, giving them the opportunity to buy the best thing in the catalog, you're not being pushy.
And I also really think that you're going to get the people who do want to do it. I think sometimes when you drag people along and you have to convince them, sometimes they're going to be good and sometimes they're going to be bad. Same with these people. But my best advice is to recruit right at the party. If you can do it, again, you book at the party, you recruit at the party, just try it. You'll be amazed. And the think about it packet is for those who just won't sign. They can take it home with them. But I'll give it to anybody. That think about it packet, I'll open it up and say, well, here's what you're going to get in the kit. Here's a season's best cookbook for your first door prize, blah, blah. Let's get you going. That's it. Easy peasy. So anyway, I'll get you some of this information if it has, any interest to you. But I hope that all of you will at least consider trying some new techniques with some of those old dogs and just look for some new stuff. That's my message.
Do you think are there any requirements to be at 20%?
That's sometimes it's a brand new consultant, that I think has good potential. Like, for instance, I gave a girl who's been with me 9 years a chance to be in it. She didn't get on the call, so she's out. But the new girl, she promoted in 28 days. So it's up to you. You can, whatever criteria you want to give. If it's just somebody that you'd love to work with, give them a chance.
Or Marna, do you ever do what I'll do is I'll send out an email saying, you know, I'm starting a program and I'm looking for 4 people who are interested in taking their business to the next level, you know, on your personal team. And you may get someone that'll, you know, email you back and say, you know what, I just lost my job and I am going to need to make some additional income, and maybe this is something now that I would like to step up.
And if you
Things
have good luck with
change.
that, sometimes I don't have good luck with
Right.
that. Sometimes if I just put the general call up, I get crickets, I get nobody. But
Right.
if I specifically target them, it seems more personal, and especially if I build it up, I'm only choosing 4 people. I
Right.
choose you. Is it something you'd like to do? It might make it more of an exclusive club. But yeah, you could do it that way too. So who else? Does anyone else have a question or suggestion while I watch? I don't know, what are we gonna possibly eat for
New York Knishes.
Delicious.
Thank you, Marna.
Can I show you a couple of other things?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I hope you this is, I hope they're wigs. That shoe has.
What about the teeth?
Oh, I've got the teeth. I can show you the teeth. I brought them along just in case I need them.
Marna, last night you mentioned something about you had like files or something or whatever for a ton of, like 150 recipes.
Yeah, if you have the baker recipes. Deep covered baker recipes, rock crack recipes.
Jill has it all. Yes, Jill.
All of that. So, without further ado. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Michael, and I am your Pampered Chef consultant for the day. I want to thank all of you for taking a little bit of time out of your morning to come spend with us and allow me to share my love of the Pampered Chef. But my biggest thanks has to go to my hostess with the mostest, Jill. Jill, thank you very much for into your